Hello and welcome back to Mrs. Botta's homework screencast. All right, so homework is on pages 3 and 4 in our packet. We did some of this today in class. So on page 3, we're looking at number 1, examples A, B, C, and D, which we are going to solve using the method of substitution. And the method of substitution comes from the fact that anything that is equal can be substituted in for and it's equal. So if we look at example A, we're saying y is equal to x plus 8, and y is also equal to 4x minus 1. And since y is equal to y, then we can say x plus 8 is equal to 4x minus 1. And what happens, because we did that, we now only have one variable in this equation. We now only have x's. And so we can figure out what x is. Once we know what x is, we can figure out what y is. So to solve for x here, I'm going to subtract my 4x on both sides. And that leaves me with negative 3x plus 8 equals negative 1. And now I'm going to subtract my 8. This gives me negative 3x equals negative 9. And then we simply divide both sides by negative 3 to solve for x. And negative 9 divided by negative 3 is positive 3. So you know half of our answer. We know the x value of the solution. What we need to do is find the y value. So we're going to take that x value and substitute it into one of the original equations. Doesn't really matter which one, you'll get the same answer as long as you do your math right. So I try to pick the easier one, which in this case I think is the first equation. So instead of y equals x plus 8, I'm going to do y equals 3 plus 8, because that's what I solved for x to be. And 3 plus 8 equals 11. So our solution, and we remind you, we want to write your solutions as ordered pairs. X comma y is 3, 11. All right, moving onto example B. Here we have just one of our equations is solved for y. We have y is equal to negative 3x plus 5. And because I know y is equal to that, in my second equation, I can replace the y with that. And when I do, my new equation looks like this. 2x plus, and I just put it in parentheses so that we didn't lose our negative, negative 3x plus 5 equals 6. And so we're going to go ahead and solve. There's no number out here to be distributed, so we could just combine our like terms. 2x and negative 3x is negative x. Plus 5 equals 6. Subtract your 5 on both sides. We get negative x equals 1, and I don't want to know what negative x is, I want to know what positive x is. So to solve for x, we then just have to divide each side by negative 1, and we get x equals negative 1. Again, we're going to take that x value of negative 1 and substitute it into one of our equations. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to use the first one again here and substitute it in right there. So I'm going to use y equals negative 3 times negative 1 plus 5 to find my answer. And that gives me y equals 8. So my solution is negative 1 comma 8. All right, letter C. Very similar here. We have one equation that has both x and y. Neither are solved for themselves. And then our second equation is solved for y. So you know y is equal to that x minus 4. So I'm going to replace the y in the first equation with x minus 4. And just be careful. We want to set it up and put it in parentheses so that you distribute properly. So when I distribute, I get 4x plus 3x minus 12 equals 37. I'm going to quickly solve this. We're going to add 4x and 3x to get 7x minus 12 equals 37. I'm not going to show this step, but when we add 12 to both sides, we get 7x equals 49, and I divide by 7 to get an x value of 7. And now I'm going to substitute that in right here in the second equation because that's a nice simple equation. Y equals 7 minus 4, so y is equal to 3. And that means our solution is 7, 3. All right, last full system we're going to solve right now. We're going to substitute the expression that y is equal to, this negative 2x plus 1, in here for y in the first equation, and be very careful. Put it in parentheses and make sure when you distribute, you're distributing a negative 5. So I get x plus 10x minus 5 equals negative 49. X and 10x is 11x minus 5 equals negative 49. And when I add 5 on both sides, I get 11x equals negative 44. And when I divide by 11, I get x is equal to negative 4. I'm going to substitute that in for x in our second equation. So it's y equals negative 2 times negative 4 plus 1, which gives me y equals 9. So our solution is negative 4, 9. All right, I want to quickly go to the back of this sheet now. If you need to pause it, I'll leave it here for a second. You could press pause to copy more information down that you need right now. Otherwise, we're moving on to number 3. It says, which of the following points is a solution to the system? And I decided to test each point in each inequality. So the first point, is 5 greater than 3 plus 1? Is 5 greater than 4? Yes. In the second inequality, is 5 less than or equal to negative 2 times 3 plus 7? Well, is 5 less than or equal to 1? No, it is not. So it's not choice 1. Choice 2, test the first inequality, is 3 greater than 1 plus 1? You bet 3 is greater than 2. And in the second inequality, is 3 less than or equal to negative 2 times 1 plus 7? Well, negative 2 times 1 plus 7 is 5, and 3 is less than or equal to 5. So that is our answer because it works in both. And I just want to quickly show you, for number 3, I tested my first inequality, and negative 2 is not greater than 2, so I didn't need to move on to the second inequality. And same with number 4. When you test it in the first inequality, 3 is not greater than 3, so it doesn't work in that one either. And our last problem is a system of inequalities. Which of the following points lies in the solution set? Well, the point negative 1, 2 is here, and that's a solution of one of them, but not both of them. The point 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is here, and that is outside the solution set for that dotted line there, so it's not 1, 5. 2, negative 4 is another point that's a solution to one of those inequalities, but not both. We are looking for a point to be in this area here where both of those inequalities are shaded. And the only point that falls in that area is 4, 2, right there. And that's our answer. All right, have a great night. I will see you tomorrow.